Well, he just did. He just scored 8 points. That's the thing. He had a career. Yep. What is going on, everybody? Welcome to the Sportz Nutz, episode 34. Oh my goodness, I can't believe we have made it this far. Hey, you know what, guys? It has been rather interesting week so far. And I know it's only Tuesday, but you know what, though? It's almost Friday. We've almost made it. I can't wait for the weekend. Addison had her game tonight, guys. Unfortunately, they lost. 14-1, but she did pretty good. So I'm very proud of my girl. She gave it her all. I'm sure I'll get the report from her mother very soon. Hey, we got a great episode lined up for you guys tonight. We have a good friend. He is from 680 The Fan in Atlanta. He will be joining the show momentarily. His name is Brian Gebhardt. He is very knowledgeable in the ATLian world, as they could say. He knows a lot about UGA. He knows a lot about the Hawks, the Falcons, the Braves. You name it, he knows it. He also is a really good friend with a good friend of mine, Nick Shalini. So good guys to really listen to. Hey, we also are going to be talking about the top 25. The new poll is out. And guys, there's actually a little bit of an interesting name on there, if you would say. I know Matt's pretty happy to hear that. So we're definitely going to cover that. Guys, we are also going to need to remind you that we are starting our next giveaway. We'll give you a little more about that. We're going to talk about the fantasy football draft, the results that we had yesterday with the draft. And Matt, I know he's not on it. He's almost here, but I'm going to let him know I'm still pretty upset that he took Drake London. That was supposed to be my pick, but I still got the first pick in the draft. So, yeah. Anyway, hey, before we go any further into the show, obviously we have to give our special shout outs, right? It's how we get it done. We got to give a special shout out to our favorite sponsor, Tequila's Grill in Easley. Hey, if you're looking for some authentic, delicious, and affordable Mexican cuisine, then Tequila's Grill in Easley is where you want to be. From everyone's favorite, the homemade salsa bar, to the weekly happy hour of buy one, get one 50% off from 4 p.m. to 7 p.m., the chimichangas, the salsa, the queso, everything. Tequila's has everything you want. Hey, do you have an event coming up or even a birthday celebration? Go ahead, give them a call right now and get it set up. 864-307-8028, or even better, stop on by 5155 Calhoun Memorial Highway in Easley, South Carolina, 29640. Again, that is Tequila's Grill in Easley. All right, guys, I'm not going to let him keep him waiting any longer. I'm going to bring on our special guest. He is the man. He is the myth. Yes, it is Mr. Brian Gebhardt. Brian, how are you doing today, sir?
I'm doing great. It was a awesome Labor Day weekend, jam-packed, full of football action. It's nice to have a full weekend of college football. I know we got a little taste last week with a nice Georgia Tech win over Florida State and a couple other games there too, but it felt like the football season really got started this past weekend, so it was a fun one.
Absolutely. We've said this constantly on the show. Everything just feels normal. The world feels right again, as they say, when football is back. I mean, it strikes a chord differently. Do you agree?
Oh, yeah, 100%. And it's also that signifying kind of like, all right, fall's almost here. I don't know how it was up by you, Brandon, but this morning was that first kind of cool morning, or at least it was cool enough where you're kind of talking yourself into, all right, it's not going to be cold today, but I know soon I get to put a hoodie on at some point, maybe step outside, maybe light a fire, whatever it might be. Fall's my favorite time of the year for football and for weather and all of it. And Labor Day is that first little taste of, okay, we're almost all the way there. We're right in the middle of all of it.
We have up here in South Carolina, we have 5 seasons of fall. And I'm going to tell you what they're. One is it's almost fake fall, which we had a couple weeks ago.
Okay.
Then it's wannabe fake fall where it starts actually kind of this week. It's want to be the fake fall. Next week is fake fall because we're going to have a second rush of cool air. Then it's maybe fall and then fall possibly, and then it is fall. Then fall just comes. But then, being in the South, fall directly goes from fall to winter in 2.5 seconds flat. Mm-hmm. So, it's great. Oh my gosh. This morning we took the girls out to go play outside. And oh my gosh, it felt remarkable. And, I don't know if you knew this. I had knee surgery actually 3 weeks. This will be week 3 this week. And so we went to the doctor's home to have a follow up. And oh my God, I was like, oh, this is great. And I told Cassie, my wife, put the windows down, turn the AC off, let the fresh air flow. And it felt phenomenal.
Yeah.
So it really does signify, life is better. So fall is my favorite season, but my absolute favorite is wintertime just because it's colder weather. It's time to be with family and friends, that kind of stuff. Speaking of family and friends, who is this young man that just joined us right here?
Oh my gosh. Please excuse my tardiness. Please excuse it.
Hey, you know what, Brian? I'm gonna tag onto that because the real reason why Matt is late is because he's creating my championship belt for the fantasy football. It says Brandon is the absolute best at fantasy football, and Matt wishes he was as good as me. Okay. We get the first pick in the draft for the first time in our lives, and we go crazy. Okay.
Yeah, that's too long of a title to be on a belt there. You're gonna have to shorten that thing up a little bit.
Brandon is the best. How's that? There you go.
I am down to talk fantasy football with you guys as well, Brandon. I know we talked about a few other things, but I've been covering fantasy football for a number of years too. So if you guys want to hop in with that at any point too, I'm right here for it.
This man, look at this. This man right here, he is totally down for it, Matt.
Absolutely.
He has some interesting entries that he does in fantasy football. The dude knows how to win, so we might have to have you on that one. So Brian, I know you and I have been talking a little bit. Let's get the ball rolling right here with regards to the Dirty Birds. The season starts on Sunday. Arthur Smith has already made this audacious claim. I'm looking forward to putting a 40-piece on the Atlanta Falcons. And I can tell you 100 out of 100 Falcons fans believe that, as they're saying that it's going to snow in the middle of July in downtown Atlanta. What are your thoughts on the fact that the season is here with regards to the Falcons? And give me your score prediction for what we're about to see transpire week 1 against the Steelers.
Yeah, the Falcons are one of those teams that they probably won the offseason, if you will. They were the ones who got the number 1 quarterback. They got the top safety off the board. They made a lot of different moves, making the trade for Matthew Judon there as well. That was big. And this team has real juice for the first time since right around that Super Bowl. And we won't bring up that score or anything.
Yeah, that's
the next year they had made the playoffs too. But this game on Sunday is, I don't want to overblow it too much in the sense of it's week 1 of the NFL, right? But this game is so crucial for the Falcons because after the Steelers at home this Sunday, you then have to face Philly and then Kansas City. And those are both going to be prime time night games where everybody's watching you. And those are 2 of the best teams in the league. So I think the season could get sideways if they don't wind up beating the Steelers this Sunday. But if you want me to go ahead and give a score prediction, I'm going to keep it just right down the middle of the road as I think it is. I think this is a field goal game. I think this is both teams that are going to new quarterbacks, new systems. They're trying to figure it out. I think the Falcons find a way to win this one. I think Koo kicks a field goal for the win with under 2 minutes left to have the Falcons win this one 20-17. But this one's going to come down to the wire, I think.
Oh, he's saying, Matt, you heard he said 20-17. Matt, what are your predictions for Sunday, and what are you looking forward to seeing transpire on Sunday?
Well, I kind of have to agree with Brian here. We have to take into account that this is the first time this team has been on the field together as a unit. This is the first time we're going to see Kirk Cousins on the field with the rest of his team. So I could see a low-scoring game, even though, according to some teams like the Panthers or the Saints this year, 20-17 is going to be that's high scoring for them. But for us with all the weapons that we have, that's not high scoring for us. So I can see it 20-17. That's reasonable. I say 28-17. I think the Falcons winning 28-17. I mean, the Steelers do have weapons. They have Pickens. They have, Najee Harris. They have, they do have Russell Wilson. No matter how bad and terrible he was last year, so to speak, he's still Russell Wilson. And guys tend to, it's like they swim in the fountain of youth when they play the Falcons. We know how it goes. So I mean, I can see a 20-17. I'll say 28-17 though, but I can definitely see where Brian's coming from.
I agree with what you're saying on there. This is a whole new regime for both teams. And it is still Arthur Smith, though. We know what he is not capable of. He gets his plays off of Madden 2009. So I'm saying 31-17 Atlanta wins. I think Kirk Cousins. I think he gets 2 touchdowns against Atlanta. I think Drake London and Bijan, they really have their way. Yes, Cordell Patterson, he does play for Arthur Smith, which that's an interesting topic. I really want to quick touch on. CP didn't like Arthur Smith's offense because it wasn't getting him enough involvement, and yet he goes to the Steelers where he's the offensive coordinator and he's like all about it, and it's kind of a head scratcher. I mean, I understand you want to go where you can get the guaranteed play time, but let's look at the quarterback situation that's going on in Pittsburgh. Brian, Russell Wilson, I think his time has come and gone. I think he's a wash up. Do I think he has any juice left in the tank? Maybe. I think he has maybe enough for 5 wins. That's what I feel. But then you got to look at Justin Fields. Fields, he has that possibility. That people live on that word possibilities. And I think maybe he could get another 2 or 3 wins. So you're looking at an 8 or maybe even a 7-8 win season, which kind of runs into the whole idea that, Arthur Smith only gets you 7 wins. Do you agree?
Yeah, I think it's going to be a really short leash for Russell Wilson this season, maybe even in that first game. Who knows? Because they don't have time to mess around at all. The Steelers are kind of been toiling in mediocrity a little bit. They're going to find a way to get to 8 or 9 wins because Mike Tomlin's always done it. He's never been below 500 in his entire career. So I think they'll find a way to be okay. But yeah, to your point of, Russ is probably on the other side of being good, right? They really only have one threat in George Pickens. Pat Freiermuth, I think, is an underrated tight end. But you look at the running back room, Najee Harris is really kind of just an average NFL running back. He's fine. He's more of a plotter in the league. And Jaylen Warren, who I think's a little bit more explosive and has a chance to break one on the outside, he's dealing with a hamstring issue and might not even be able to play on Sunday. So I think the Steelers still find a way to get to 8 or 9 wins, but they're not a team that you're afraid of anymore outside of the pass rush ability from TJ Watt.
Absolutely. It's true. I have a good friend who actually plays for the Pittsburgh Steelers, Brandon Fehoko. The right end for, he's on the opposite end of TJ Watt. He plays DN. He also plays a D line. He's also knows. So he's a great player. He played at Farrington High School in state of Hawaii. He played starting his career at Texas Tech, finished it up at LSU. Great defensive player. He is literally the only player I'm going to cheer for on the Steelers. Yes, CP84 did great things for Atlanta, but when you leave, it's the pastime. Unless you're Matt Ryan. Now I'm not going to discredit that. Matt Ryan will always be my quarterback. He is the greatest Falcons quarterback to ever been, and I've even had the ability to meet Barkowski, and Steve Barkowski has even said himself, Matt Ryan is the legend in Atlanta. Hey. I see the shirt that you're wearing, the Atlanta Braves. This has to be the oddest season I have ever seen in the history of the Atlanta Braves. And that's going back to 89. I've been a fan since 89. My sister introduced me to the Atlanta Braves. We got to see them play at Fulton County Stadium. But, I told this to countless people, and I'm going to ask you the same question. The real MVP of the season is not anybody playing on the team, actually. It's the injury bug. Injury bug has hit anybody and everybody. And obviously, Atlanta has still found ways to get it done to win. I mean, there are only 6 games outside of the division against the lonely Phillies. And people, I don't know if you saw the tweet Castellanos' mother was out there dogging the Atlanta Braves, asking if they were still okay or whatnot. What do you think is going to happen with regards to the remaining? I think it's like 20 some odd games left of the regular season. Do you think Atlanta can even grab the number 2 wild card spot, or do you think they're just destined for the number 3?
I think they're going to be fighting the entire way. Luckily, Chris Sale's on the mound tonight. I know it started about 20 minutes ago. I don't know what they're doing yet, but I'm sure Sale is cruising. And it's really just with the Phillies taking 3 out of 4 from the Braves, the division's out of reach now, right? I think we can all agree upon that. And I think it's just a matter of trying to set up the rotation when you get closer to be able to have Sale, Fried, and Spencer Schwellenbach be those 3 guys. However they can, make sure that these are the 3 guys going, whether they are the home wildcard team or the away wildcard team. I think it's going to be more important about setting up the pitching matchup. It's worth chasing it, though, because this team's already kind of in a playoff mode of having to scrap with the injuries to Strider and Acuna and Riley and Ozzie and all those guys, right? So I think that it will wind up being – I think that second wild card is probably where they wind up being, which means they'd have to go on the road to that top wild card team. But as long as the pitching's set up, and Riley can come back healthy and Ozzie can come back healthy, Braves are going to be a dangerous team just because they've been around the block, and now they're the scrappy team coming up and not the team that's been able to cruise winning another division title.
Absolutely. And there was a question that was posed recently about can the Braves, maybe duplicate 2021, but what really got them sold on 2021 was the pitching. So there is a potential for the pitching to save the organization. Matt, you have a question. Go ahead and ask.
Yeah, Brian. Let's say the Braves, they get the third, or let's say they get the third wild card spot. Okay.
Yeah.
If they flame out early in the playoffs, can you see them making any kind of drastic moves this offseason?
I think AA, Alex Anthopoulos, that is the GM, he's not going to make any sort of drastic moves because I think he's pretty much got the people locked up who he wants locked up. The biggest question this offseason, regardless, honestly, of what happens with the Braves, whether they make a run or they don't make a run, is going to be what to do with Max Fried, because he's finally going to have a chance to be a true free agent and can go anywhere that he wants. There's a lot of speculation that he would head back to Southern California, maybe go play for San Diego, or the Dodgers are always the obvious spot because they spend a ton of money. So that's going to be crucial. I don't think they're going to do anything drastic because Alex Anthopoulos has been so successful with his approach. It's lock up my guys who can hit. We're not going to pay any pitchers because we see time and time again, people get hurt. They got Tommy John, and all the Braves do is continue to draft pitchers. You saw it with Strider. He was arguably the best pitcher in baseball last year, right? But now he got hurt early on. He had the forearm issue. It turned into, and then he had surgery, and now he's out for the year. So I think it'll be continuing to try to add arms, but they're not going to go out of their way to pay anybody that isn't Max Fried. So in short, I don't think they make any sort of crazy move. I think they just try to continue building on what they've already got.
Okay. And the obvious question is what is going to happen with Max Fried? Alex is not good at sharing anything. I mean, he is the most secretive man in history of baseball, I feel. But let's look at what he did do this trade season. He took a gamble on Jorge Soler. He's doing, I would probably, if I had to give it on a scale of 1 to 5, I'd give him a 2. That's Jorge Soler's position on that one. And then, look at Luke Jackson. I give him a 0 out of 5 stars because he's just blowing things left and right. And it's not always guaranteed to get the boy back, the band back together is going to equal success. We've seen time and time again, they're going back to the 21 days kind of thing, like this team was the it factor and whatnot. But, we just saw the report a couple of days ago. Tyler Masick signed back with Atlanta, but as with the Gwinnett Stripers. Do you see Alex, targeting any, I guess, bigger name players? Crochet obviously is the biggest question with the Lonely White Sox. Do you see him maybe coming to Atlanta?
I don't think it'll be anybody that big. I think they'll continue to try to beef up the bullpen and for the most part this year, I know as of late and in the Philly series, it wasn't great, the bullpen, but overall it's been really good. Iglesias has been one of the better pitchers in baseball and honestly probably the best closer in baseball over the last month plus. He won the pitcher of the NL, I think it was, or closer of the month or something in August there. So no, I don't think they're going to go out of their way to do anything too big. Again, I think Anthopoulos will continue to try to make the moves that he's been making. And, what you had brought up there, Brandon, in terms of bringing back Luke Jackson, bringing Jorge Soler, I think that was a little bit stale this year. It felt like, all right, bring back the guys the World Series heroes and the people who hit bombs, and bring back Matzik, who's really just done based on a injury history. So it would have been nice to see him be a little bit more creative and check out different people. But if you hear him talk about it, he's always big on how they fit in the clubhouse as much as productive as they are. And I think there was a little bit of leaning of, okay, they fit, they work. We're kind of got all these holes right now. Let's bring back guys that we already know and chuck them in there versus trying something a little bit different to create more of a spark, which this team needs as they get closer to October.
I was like, we saw that wannabe it factor with Eddie Rosario. They brought him back. He stumbled. He got let go. He goes to the Mets. The Mets let him go. So you got to wonder, when is enough for him to stick his hand in the pot and hope the heck he brings out the golden ticket. You've got to really wonder what's going on in his mind. But heck, we could all formulate what he's going to go after, who's going to go after, kind of stuff. But it is Alex Anthopoulos. He's very good. Like I said, he's the most secretive man in baseball. Hey, I have a comment I got to share with you on here, Brian. I don't know if you can see it. Our good friend Trey Davis says Brian has the best background in show history with regards to the University of Georgia, is what I'm assuming.
Yeah.
Can you elaborate?
Well, I fully agree with Trey. Obviously, he's right in this situation. Go Dogs. Nice Saturday. Big win there. I'm not sure if you guys are you guys fans of, are you South Carolina? Are you guys Clemson? Are you guys other, or what's your affiliation?
All right, Matt, you go first.
All right, well, I'm here in Atlanta, man. So, I'm like more so the outskirts of Atlanta. So I'm a Georgia Tech guy.
Okay. Nice. Good start to the season so far, for sure.
Great start.
I got one for you.
23.
I'm a University of Hawaii fan.
Okay.
Huge difference. Matt will tell you he's still mad because I lived in Hawaii for a few years and I didn't pack him in my suitcase. So he's still kind of bitter about that. But so, hey, I'm going to cheer on, the little guy. And yes, UGA is doing phenomenal things. I mean, I even texted you earlier and I said, do you think a three-peat could happen? And I really truthfully feel this could be a three-peat kind of year for college football. But I'm cheering on Matt's team in Georgia Tech a lot because they haven't been relevant in such a long time. And the fact that they are, they took down Florida State in Dublin, Ireland. And then they came back and they played this week and then they win again. They're 2-0. They're in the top 25, which is an awesome feat in itself. But I can't. My heart doesn't belong to Georgia. Yes, I'm from Atlanta, actually. My mother lives in Roswell, Georgia. I grew up in Roswell. So I went to Roswell High School, played for them, both football and basketball. Loved it. Great area, great town in general. But, we look at what UGA is doing. Someone has said Kirby Smart is overtaking the reins from Nick Saban. Nick Saban was the perennial powerhouse for decades in football. Do you think that the University of Georgia has taken that hat away from Saban, given it to Kirby Smart and said, Kirby, do your thing?
Yeah. And if you go back to SEC Media Days, some of the coaches had said it as much too, right? Lane Kiffin acknowledges that, all right, Kirby's kind of the guy that we look to now as the leader in the room with Saban gone. And, out of all of his assistants that he had over the years, and he had several, Nick Saban, that is, the one that he was closest to and the one that he remained closest to was Kirby Smart. I mean, he was his DC for 9 years. So if there's anyone that knows as many secrets or potentially half of them or whatever it might be from Saban, it's gonna be Kirby. And Saban said as much too, where he picked Georgia to win the national title in that way. But Kirby's the one who's built this thing as close to what Alabama, did in that run. He's still got a long, long way to go to catch the legacy that was Nick Saban, but he's certainly on the right path and he's doing everything, in the right way that we know of so far. And now it's about navigating this whole new transfer portal NIL, because And that's part of the reason why Saban got out, right? In terms of dealing with all that, because now there's a whole extra layer to this thing, and Kirby's being compensated for it. But if he can remain, modernize and stay adaptable and continue to do all this, this run's going to be there for as long as he wants, because he's a pretty young guy too.
Matt, go ahead.
Yeah. Hey, Brian. Do you see? Well, from what you've seen earlier, and from what you're seeing from coaching staffs and players, young players, like a Arch Manning in Texas or something like that. Do you see a team that's going to be able to rival Georgia in the near future?
Yeah, well, I think the team you just mentioned right there in Texas, I think they have things cooking. I think the biggest thing for them and what you see for Georgia, and you saw it, the offensive line versus the defensive line in this game. The first half, Georgia only up 6-0 on Clemson. Yeah. The defensive line for Clemson was really nice. These teams that have the ability to at least compete in the trenches against Georgia are going to have that leg up. And a team like Texas with a coach like Sark, they just need one or two, I think, big wins to really be fully back on the map. They had a nice run last year, making it all the way to the semifinals, but they've got Quinn Ewers there now, who's going to be a Heisman candidate. And, off to a nice start. I know they had sort of a cupcake game on there on Saturday. And then they're going to go right into Arch Manning, who's been waiting his turn there too. So I think Texas is definitely one. And Ohio State's the other one who's sitting right there. It's just a matter of Ryan Day being able to beat Michigan, which I think he'll be able to do this year because they're spending the money on that roster, and their roster is just as good. But I think the big difference for Georgia is that edge that Kirby has, right? Because the only person, there's no active coach right now that's beaten Kirby Smart in a game in college football. Like now that Saban's left, like there's no one out there who's been able to beat him. So I think with that, it's going to be, okay, who's the guy who can step up? So I think you look at Texas, Ohio State, and Oregon. Those are the three to me right now who I think, okay. And then the other one, and one other would be Alabama and Kalen DeBoer, because I think he's a really good coach. Everyone's sort of writing off Bama because Saban is gone. They still have an excellent quarterback and a really good offensive-minded head coach. It's going to be a little bit different, but those are the four programs I think that have a chance to be able to compete with them year in and year out over the next few years.
I like your reasoning on that one too. Kalen DeBoer, yes, okay, folks in the SEC. I know we've never seen you've seen other schools play against his style of play, and they've never been really successful in the SEC. But Kalen DeBoer runs, one of my absolute favorite styles of offense. I'm the run and shoot kind of guy. We have a good friend of ours, Vince, actually. He said, if I had the ability to spread the field from Albuquerque, New Mexico to Atlanta, Georgia, I would do it. I love the pass-heavy offense. I've always loved it. I even coached it when I coached at Avondale High School. And I coached under Bob Spire at North Gwinnett. And he runs the run and shoot. So, Kalen DeBoer has a very high-powered offense. You're right. So far, all the talk is it's Lane Kiffin's for him to run. It's his chance to run the table. The two teams that are going to be in the SEC championship are UGA and Ole Miss. We don't see the divisions anymore. Remember, they got rid of all the divisions except for the Sun Belt Conference, and that might go away too. I got a little cool, interesting note I got to share with you, Brian. I have some really close contacts inside of Oregon State and Washington State and the Pac-2 and the Big 12. So I was just happening to talk to them the other day, and they said, hey, you need to be prepared. I got something to share with you. You can't tell them I told you. You just keep it as an anonymity. I was like, okay, cool. What is it? Well, the talk is that the Pac-2 and the Mountain West, their talks have died, and they were going to let it be, and they're not going to talk about it anymore. So I actually told Matt a couple of days ago, I said, hey, I'm going to let you know this is what's happening. No network has got a word of it. And then ESPN broke it out that morning of, saying, hey, breaking news, the Pac-2 and Mountain West have dissolved. And then came the talk of the Big 12 is supposed to have a press conference soon about the Pac-2 teams joining. I don't know when it's going to happen. It's going to happen anytime from what I was told. Well, I'm going to pull the picture up that I was sent by them, okay? And it really does get you to think, oh my goodness, could this actually be real? Because, we see all these kinds of things, and we hope and we pray. Like, Could we actually? I can't find the picture. So it's actually an Oregon State and the Big 12 emblem are put together. It says coming very soon. A lot of talk is that 2025 will start the process of Oregon State and Washington State moving at least their big programs over to the Big 12. What are your thoughts, though? And Matt, I want to get your thoughts on this too. What are your thoughts on the Big 12 basically absorbing the Pac-2?
They got to have a landing spot somewhere, right, in terms of Washington State and Oregon State. So it would make I don't know why they wouldn't have just gone ahead and done it prior. So I wonder what's happened since that. I know obviously falling out with the Midwest Conference that you were saying, not being able to join that and the news coming out with that. But it's nice for them. I mean, they don't really cover too big of TV demographics. I know they got that with Oregon and Washington. That's a big reason they went to the Big Ten. So it's just another one of those. Next year, we got to go back and go, all right, which conference is this team in? Because that's what's already happening this past weekend, and it's going to continue for the next couple of weeks. So I look at it as it's nice that they've got a landing spot and a good place to go. But, as far as impact on what might happen in the future, I don't think it has too big of an impact on like the landscape for college football.
All right, Matt, what do you think?
Yeah, I agree with Brian, man. I don't think it's going to have that much of an impact on college football, but I can see what the Big 12 is trying to do. I can see the Big 12 trying. I mean, they're not going to compete with the SEC as far as morale and things like that, but I can see that they're actually trying to do something. They're trying to do something to strengthen that conference. And, the more the merrier. I guess they're taking that approach. The more teams they have in there, the more high 5-star recruits they can get, the merrier they'll be. So from that aspect, I agree. I think that, they should do it. And, also, why not?
Exactly. Why not do it? Because, I mean, let's be honest. Is the West Coast Conference really going to generate you a perennial powerhouse for, centuries or whatever they be for money-wise? No, you're not going to get anything out of it. I mean, heck, the University of Hawaii, there's talks that they may join the Big 12. There has been just informal talk. It's not been actual, like, hey, you come on over. But, there's also been the talks of schools like Tulane. And I didn't know this until I talked to a friend of mine at Tulane University that they said, hey, the Big 12 and Tulane are having conversations. They're just having conversations. Doesn't mean they're going to do anything, but it's talk. But, then there was that talk about UConn. They want to join every sport but football in the Big 12. That looks like it's going to happen in 2026. But then came the news also that UConn and the Big 12 are talking that they are going to accept UConn in football as well. So it is an interesting landscape as to what's going to happen. Obviously it's exciting. We're not done. We're not done with conference realignment. A friend of mine says there's going to be 3 conferences. It's the SEC, the Big Ten, and the EEC conference, the everyone else conference. That's kind of what it's going to be like. It's going to, we're not done yet. Mm-hmm. And now Brian, I know you're close in time. So I want to do a little short with you real quick also.
Sure.
Georgia Tech, they're kind of like the Cinderella this year. There is other Cinderella schools that are starting to assert their dominance. Look what BC did last night. I mean, for the first time in a long time, they not only did they win, they dominated Florida State. And Florida State's always been a big boy school. Obviously, the talks with them leaving the ACC. I want you to give us your top 3 Cinderella schools this year that could surprise the college football world.
Ooh, man. I'm going to take one with. Can I go? I'm going to go with Georgia Tech on one of them if I can.
All right, that's fine.
I really like Brent Key. I just think he's a really good coach. I love offensive line coaches. This team has an identity now. They're going to try to run the football. They're going to try to run all over people, and they know who they are, which I think is really important. 2 other Cinderellas, man. They're definitely not a Cinderella, but I think in terms of maybe someone who's a dark horse to make a run in the playoffs, if you want to stick with the Big 12, I think Utah could make a nice run. Cameron Rising off the surgery. He's like 28 years old now too. And he scores 1 million touchdowns and they're a really good program. Also, Kyle Whittingham is an excellent head coach there too. And then if you look at, I'm trying to think of one of the smaller schools that might be able to go. I'm trying to think of maybe some of the bigger schools that have been like viewed in a lesser way that might be able to make a push. I think Oklahoma State's a really interesting team. That's another Big 12 team. So probably whoever comes out of the Big 12, I think is going to pack more punch than probably whoever comes out of the ACC. I think the Big 12 up top is probably better than the ACC, which might be, alarming to some people. So I would say those three, and that may have not answered your question, but those are three that, okay, can they maybe make a run at the playoffs? And you didn't think that they could before.
I like him. All right, real quick, and then I'm going to go to Matt, and then he'll answer this, and then we'll let you go. But
Sure.
who is going to be your biggest upset in week 2 of college football?
Week 2 of college football. Oh man,
biggest upset.
Oh, I got to go look at the schedule. I don't know it off the top like that. Hold on. I'm going to do it right now. Give me 1 second.
How about you, Matt?
Right.
Biggest upset.
If Matt knows it, have Matt go. I'm going to pull mine up.
Yeah, I kind of need to glance at the schedule too, real quick, man. But I'm still on that high off of Georgia Tech being 2-0. But I don't know. Well, I guess I could say for Cinderellas, I'll go answer that real quick. For Cinderellas, I can see. You know what? And they're in the major conference, but I can see Clemson bouncing back after that beatdown.
Wow.
I can see them bouncing back. They have a really good team, man. They just happen to run into the gauntlet called UGA, but they have a really good team. They have all the pieces, man. But I can see Clemson bouncing back, man, and probably make it into the playoff, to be honest with you.
Okay. All
right. I glanced through. I found my one, and they didn't look good in week 1, but it's NC State who's hosting Tennessee, and NC State stuck in the top 25. That's a sneaky place to play. So, and Tennessee, I think, is a little overrated. I think they were heading into the season. They had sort of a cupcake start as well. So I'm going to say that NC State knocks off Tennessee this week.
Ooh. What about you, Matt? Who do you say is your upset pick for week 2? You mentioned one team that the one I want to say is the team you just mentioned.
Really?
I think for 3 years in a row, Brian can attest this, App State has knocked off a top 10, top 25 team every year. So I'm saying App State actually, it pains me to say this because, Cassie's family is Clemson. I'm going to say App State wins like 28-24 over Clemson.
I can see, you know what? Ooh, man, they got some good games. I don't know, man. I'm looking at these. I don't see. I don't. Maybe Arkansas might get lucky against Oklahoma State.
Ooh, okay. I like that.
I'll say that. I'll say that, man. I'll say the ball bounces the right way for Arkansas, and they get by Oklahoma State with a field goal.
Okay, I like it. All right, Brian, real quick, what's your plans for this lovely weekend? Are you going to be enjoying the awesome weather? Are you working? What's the plans?
Saturday, I'm going to be heading out in the morning out to Athens, Georgia to cover the game for the station. So Georgia's got Tennessee Tech at a 2:00 kick there on Saturday. And that's kind of 2 o'clock's a weird time. I think it's an SEC network game. But what's good about that is that game will go quickly because it's Tennessee Tech, and they shouldn't be playing this game anyways necessarily. So that thing will wrap up by 4:30. I'll be done with work stuff about 6 or so and back home by probably 8 or 9. So I'm not mad at the 2 o'clock start. And then come Sunday at about 12:30, it'll be last-minute checks on a million different fantasy teams, getting those lineups right, making sure we're set, and then just posting up. I got the 2 TV set up. We're going to have Falcons on one, and then we're going to have Red Zone channel on the other, and we're just going to sit back and enjoy the day.
Let's go. It is Dirty Bird season, y'all. Hey, Brian, would you please tell everybody where they can find you on social media, sir?
Yeah, I'm at Brian. Well, that's BRIAN_Gebhardt. I know that underscore is needy. It was the only one available for me, so I had to separate it some way. It looked professional and clean, so I kept it. And then Gebhardt is spelled GEBHARDT. And also tune in to Chuck and Chernoff if you're in the Atlanta area, or download that 680 The Fan app. We're on from 2 to 6 every day, leading you up to Braves coverage and all that good stuff. Also, the Locked On Sports Network. I'm on every Tuesday doing Georgia stuff with those folks. Jarvis Davis and Tanitra Batiste, 2 people I've worked with for a long time, great people. So go give that a like and a listen there as well.
Absolutely. I'm definitely doing that. Hey, I got a little side note. I actually did my internship with Chernoff, Domino, and Shalini. They're my buddies. I love them. They're the
I
best people.
interned with Chris Domino years ago, so it's just now it's full circle that I'm working back at the station. So it's a very small, tight knit world, and anybody listening out there who wants to get involved or does any of that, man, just treat people right, and good things will happen for you. Like just keep moving forward, and something will happen, because I know this is fun. I know it's hard to break through. So if you're out there listening, thinking, I want to do what these guys are doing, just keep moving forward, keep shaking hands, and keep saying yes when people ask you to do things. Okay?
I feel left
That's
out.
right.
I feel left out from you guys, man. Everybody's interning. I feel left out.
We'll get Matt. Hey, man, we'll take free labor anytime. You want to come do some internship? I got you. I got you on an internship.
Hey, seriously.
There you go. Hey, guys, his name is Brian Gebhardt. Please give him a follow. Listen, hey, check out 6AFN. He also works with our good friend Brandon Leak. Check them out. They are great talent that, I told Nick, I said, I hate that some of the best talents in Atlanta, but you know what, though? Atlanta does it right. So, Brian, I definitely want to have you on again, man. But you know what I'm telling you to do now is go enjoy your evening. Go have a fantastic week, sir. And tell the Dirty Birds, kick some Arthur Smith bottom for us, please, okay?
I will. I'll send that message. I'll send out the memo right now. See you guys. Good talking with you.
Take care. Thank you. Hey, what a great conversation to have. My gosh. And him and I, we've been talking for a little while, and I want to have as many people who are in the media industry come and talk to us and tell us their thoughts of what can we expect as AT aliens. Matt, you know this. We're hypocritical of everything. We are so like, give us the damn results or else kind of thing, with our Atlanta Hawks, Atlanta Braves, the Falcons, United. You name it, any Atlanta team, we want to know right away. How can we get it better? What can we do to get it better? But hey, you know what, Matt? I got some really cool things I want to talk to you about. Yeah. Can you please tell everybody what you sent me today that just came out fresh off the press?
Oh, wait, man. The AP college football poll, new top 25.
Oh, yes, sir. And it's so refreshing to read these things. It's so refreshing to see it. But, Matt, who is like your surprise person on the poll, like the surprise team on the poll right now? Obviously, we're going to take Georgia Tech out of it. Hey, guys, Georgia Tech's 23. Let's take them out of there. But let's focus on a surprise team who is on it or is still even on it.
You know what, man? A surprise team that I feel is on it. As I'm looking through really quickly, you know what? Arizona.
Really?
Arizona. I like their team. I like their offense. I like what they have been. But I know they just beat the Lobos. They just destroyed them like 61-39. My surprise with them is I thought they would go higher than 20. They only went up one spot. I thought they'll at least be about 15, 14 in that area. I was shocked that they only went up 1 to 20. Now, as far as who I'm shocked about, as far as being on this list at all, I'm shocked Clemson is still on it after that beatdown they took from Georgia.
Amen. I was just about to say, Matt, if you don't say Clemson,
take them off.
A little problem here.
Yeah, you got to take them off of there, man. After they only scored 3 points, man. I don't care who you're playing. They only scored a field goal. So it's like, and they got that field goal because Georgia was feeling nice. So man. I'm shocked Clemson is still on that. Clemson should not be on this, man. They got mollywop. They showed no effort with that, man. The teams were deadlocked in the first half. I thought it was a good game. Then all of a sudden, I don't know what kind of pep talk Kirby Smart gave them at halftime, but
what juice did they give them?
Yeah, they came out guns blazing, and Clemson had no answer for anything. And Clemson, they have way better talent than what they displayed against Georgia. They have way better 5-star talent. Yes. So
you can't sit there and say Clemson doesn't load up, because they do. They load up heavily.
Absolutely,
guys. Everybody in the stream right now, I want you to tell us if you've seen the top 25. Tell us your surprise as for who is on there, and surprise for as why this team is still on there. Okay, so mine. It's actually number 24 and number 25. Matt, we've already discussed number 25. Clemson, why in the heck are they still on it? They have not shown me anything right now. Cade Klubnik is not the answer. He needs to go. And my brother-in-law Seth said this perfectly. He said, and I quote, "There better be some talk now with the AD and the president of the school that Dabo needs to tap into the transfer portal and utilize his NIL players better." And I, not 100, not 2, but 300% agree. Dabo, get with the damn times. It's 2024. It's not 10. And, this offseason, he had one of the most cringiest statements. I'm not going to play it because of copyright, but I'm going to tell you what he said. He is, in a sense, playing in NIL, but not how you think. It's through God's name, image, and likeness. That's his words. Look, Dabo, you've done great things for the state of South Carolina. You've done great things for Clemson. You put Clemson back on the map, but you're 0 for 2 on quarterbacks right now. You had DJ Uiagalelei Toilet Bowl, and now you have Cade Club Can't. I mean, come on. You have two quarterbacks. Yes, that's corny. Whatever, Matt. You have two quarterbacks who can't.
Did you come with that on the fly?
Yeah,
That was good.
I sure did.
That was good.
You.
I like that. That
Thank
was
you.
good. I'm sorry. Sorry to take
You've got to seriously think like Dabo. What is your mind frame? Are you going to go and do what Saban did and say, you know what? I'm out. Bye.
There you go.
I'm out of here. Is that what you're going to do? Because then you're going to make Clemson. You're going to be the most. Not only would you be the most hated man in the ACC, you'd be the most hated man in the entire state of South Carolina. And don't forget, Dabo, I know where your house is. I'm pretty sure if I know where it's at, I guarantee you a bunch of people know where it's at too. It is a very pretty home. Heck, even Cassie has said, all right, let's see what Trey said. I thought Clemson was hanging in there in the first half. Garrett Riley's offense has looked bad twice against Georgia with Clemson and TCU. Garrett Riley, I don't think he's the answer. I think people are hoping he's as good as his brother Lincoln. But even Lincoln has his pitfalls in the offensive game. So, a buddy of ours, JD Matt, has said he at one time, was hoping and praying that South Carolina were going to take Garrett Riley as their offensive coordinator, or heck, even their coach. I wouldn't be surprised if that was the thought for a lot of Gamecock fans. But now, JD revisited that statement. He said, "I am so thankful that we did not get him as the OC." And JD, I'm telling you now, dude, I'm actually glad you guys didn't get him either, because South Carolina, they have that expectations of fans. It's always this, right? But if South Carolina puts the right OC at the right point, the level of expectations versus reality is literally neck and neck. It's the potential. What do you guys say about that, Matt?
Doesn't South Carolina have that receiver? What's his name? Nick Harbor or something like that. They have this uber talented receiver, man. That's just out of this world, man. And I hate the fact that he's,
wasting. They're wasting talent. Is what they're doing. You have, I don't know. Hey, Trey, if you can, or stream, or whomever, if you have the ability, look it up. Let us know if it's Nick Harbor, if it is with South Carolina.
Yeah, they have this uber talented receiver, man. Like, so talented, like 6'5" or something like that, man. They just fast. I haven't seen somebody that big and fast since Calvin Johnson, man. So I mean, like, this dude is insanely athletic and looks like a beast. But I don't know. I think it's Nick Harbor. I think that's his name. But if I'm mistaken, somebody in the chat that's a South Carolina fan, just let me know. But
exactly.
Again,
we'd love to hear it.
If he needs to transfer, if he does not break 1,000 yards this year, it is Nick Harbor.
Nick Harbor is the cheat code on the video game.
If he does not get 1,000 yards this year, he needs to transfer and get the heck up out of there, man. Because that's the biggest underutilization I've ever seen. Yeah, that kid is disgusting, Brandon. He's nasty. You need to check him out.
Clay said he is a legit 5-star. Okay, well, and you don't see legit 5-star wide receivers. You see NIL 5-star receivers. Again, but you don't see the true 5-star receiver. Hey, I don't know if you saw this story, and then we'll go back to the top 25. The LA Chargers, Matt, they just verified that they have a fullback, and he's the fullback from hell. The dude is 6'5" or 6'4" and 330 pounds.
Dang.
Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, for those who don't know, I did play football, and I had my share of ouch hits. And there is this one video, I'm sure you all have seen it. A safety pretends to leap at a player, but goes, yeah, that's me going against that fullback. I'd be like, no, I'm not going against you. Dude, you're like a freaking bowling ball. You think I'm going to go against a bowling ball at full speed? No, I'm sorry. Now, I dished some hits, but yeah, no, I'm not doing that. All right, so let's look back at the top 25, Matt. Obviously, Georgia, they received the most at number 1 with 57 votes. Ohio State received 5. So Oregon, people are kind of dogging Oregon. They didn't do as, and I kind of agree with them a little bit. They didn't do as good as I thought they would do against Idaho. For those who don't remember, Idaho did at one time. They played in FBS level. They were part of the WAC, the Western Athletic Conference. They played regularly against University of Hawaii. They took the decision to drop down to FCS level because they couldn't keep up with the money situations. They couldn't keep up with the fans because they were constantly going to be, when in doubt, drop down, right? So, Matt, what do you think about Oregon? Are you sold on Oregon, or are you no?
I mean, with Oregon, man, I think what happened should have happened. They went from 3 to 7. They dropped 4 spots, even though they won.
Yes.
Yes. But look, man, you got a team that's a team like Idaho. You gotta put a thumping on them, man. Like, you got other teams beating teams by 30, 40 points, man. You mean you can only beat Idaho by 10 points? I mean, but now I didn't watch that game per se. I didn't get to watch. I watched some of it. I didn't watch all of it. So I didn't watch the fourth and third quarter. Did they take the starters out? And I mean, which I doubt, because it was only a 24-14 game.
Yeah.
So with that not being the case, they have to do better coaching, man. The next game is against Boise State, so we'll see what happens against Boise State. Boise State to give them more of a run for their money than Idaho did.
Yes.
So we're gonna see what happens at Boise State. That next game is gonna be a big tell-off for this Duck team, man. I mean, are they gonna blow out Boise State and show that week one was a fluke, or are they gonna lose to Boise State, or is it gonna be another close game where they barely pull it out? So we'll see. But I think they're properly ranked right now. It's a warning to them. They dropped 4 spots. Like, all right, get your act together. If it's another game like that, I can see them being. Even if they win, if they beat Boise State by like a touchdown, I can see them dropping down to like 10 or 11 or something like that.
Okay. Trey Davis, I have DirecTV. Is FSU that bad? Yes, they're bad.
They just lost to Boston College.
And no, they didn't lose to Boston College. They got thumped by Boston College.
It was a slacking, a mollywopping.
Caution, Boston College, dude. I'm not going to dog BC.
Yeah.
Atlanta had Matt Ryan.
Yeah. Of course, Jake Matthews. Of course. But come on, man, it's FSU.
And people don't realize. I mean, okay, if you do know this, chime in on the stream. People from South Carolina know very well. DJ Uiagalelei was not a quarterback you needed to have. He has the quarterback size and statue, 6'4", 250 or whatever it is. Yes, he's a great statue. He's not. Yeah, Trey Davis just said Luke Kuechly. Yeah, Luke Kuechly, great quarterback from great linebacker from Boston College, absolutely. But you got to look at, DJ Uiagalelei. He's not good. He was terrible at Clemson. And here's the weird thing: is they gave him almost a 5-star rating as a quarterback, and he had that one greatness come out with him against Notre Dame when Trevor Lawrence was out with an injury.
Yep.
He did great against Notre Dame. And then it came the reality of he's a one drive quarterback, meaning he's only good for one drive. He's really only good. It's usually between the first and the 5th drive. That's it. And then it's, what are you thinking? What are you doing? Like,
exactly.
Matt, you had to have seen the constant wide open looks. He literally is like, who are you throwing to? The dirt? Were you throwing to the staircase? What were you throwing the ball to?
It's like he's playing scared. And to think back to that Notre Dame game, I don't even give him that because Notre Dame didn't have any game film on him. So
that's right.
He got surprised. So, I mean, yeah, man, I mean, I'm not a big fan of his. I got a good friend of mine. He's a big FSU fan, man. He's non-existent now. I haven't heard from him in like 3 weeks. So, I mean, he's and I can't put all the blame. I'm not going to put all the blame on him 100%. I put the blame on coaching. They know what kind of quarterback he is, and they're not putting him in the position to win. It's terrible. Didn't they win? Didn't they win? How many games did they win last year?
They went 13-0 last year.
Exactly.
Then they played. Then they. This is the cop-out excuse that everybody sits here and says is they didn't have they sat everybody for the Orange Bowl and they lost 63-7 or whatever it was, or 63-6 or something. Georgia. Yeah, they got thumped. You know what though, and that's such a BS excuse. Mike Norvell, he needed to know what he was getting when he got DJ Uiagalelei. And I told this to Cassie. I've told this to everybody, and I'm going to tell this to you guys here on the stream. And Matt, I'm going to tell you too. Had DJU stayed at Oregon State, where he didn't have the limelight on him as much, and he was actually pretty successful at Oregon State. Had he stayed there, focused on all that, between a 5th and 7th rounder at best. That's what he would have been drafted as. Now with him being at FSU and showing the goose egg of a coach, guys, of a player, guys, I'm telling you now, he's going to be lucky to be a second-string quarterback in the Canadian Football League. I'm
trying to put a U up for undrafted. That's what I'm trying to do.
That's the U, sir.
Okay, I'm trying to put a U up for undrafted.
Yes.
I hate it for him, man. I hate it for him that his stock is lowered every time he's played. You're right. He definitely should have stayed. Or what was it? Oregon State? He definitely should have stayed.
Yep.
Definitely should have stayed there, man, and just rolled it out. I mean, people can make the NFL at schools like that. Look at Carson Wentz. Look at quarterbacks like that have went to smaller schools and were successful. Josh Allen went to Wyoming. Let's not forget that. But so, man, it's just, I hate it for a lot of these kids, man. People are in the ear telling them what to do and is not looking out for the best interest, man. He should have never left Oregon State.
And, his biggest culprit with doing this, his dad. His dad is tricked. And if you don't follow him on Twitter, he's just forewarn you, you badmouth his son one time, it's blocked, that kind of stuff. He will block you. But, you're not missing much. But then you go look at Cade Klubnik. Talk was he was the savior. He was the next Trevor Lawrence. He was Trevor Lawrence 2.0. Where is this 2.0 going? Because he is not performing to the level of expectations that are set at Clemson. Matt, I don't know if you've heard this. The saying by Dabo is, greatness greatness is the only thing he expects, is the expectation. It's greatness. You're not exhibiting it. It's time to move on. Look, do it while you can, Dabo. Just cut your ties, lick your wounds, whatever. Go with your backups. Backup quarterback is a great quarterback. He's not bad. I promise you he's not. It will get better. So let's look at the next one that I'm really shocked into. LSU. They lost 27-20 to USC, which, Matt, you and I did say that was a toss-up game. We didn't really know who could beat. We did say USC was probably going to win just because LSU lost a lot of great talent. And Brian Kelly, again, has shown his cards. He's not a good coach. He's not he's not great. I actually had talk about this with my friend Brian Kajiyama, and he said, where should Brian Kelly have stayed? Should he stay at Notre Dame? And I said, no, he should have stayed at Cincinnati. You don't know what Cincinnati could have been if Brian Kelly had stayed there to this day. We don't know.
Yep.
LSU, I'm shocked they're still on the poll. I don't see them gaining really any ground to go into the 12 team. What do you think?
I didn't see it with Nutz. I can't never pronounce his name right. The quarterback Nutz Mayer.
Don't ask me because I'll butcher it too.
Well, it was a close game. It's any team could have won, but LSU should have put They should have put USC away. They had so many opportunities to put USC away in that game, and they did not. They didn't capitalize on anything, man. Offensively, defense did what they can do. So I'm not going to put this on the defense. Offensively, they just didn't capitalize. They didn't capitalize off of 3 and outs that they forced USC into. I mean, they just didn't capitalize. But the game was anybody's game. That's why LSU's more likely still ranked because it was anybody's game. I think LSU will finish in the top 25 for the season. Will they make the playoff? I don't know. I just don't see enough from them from an offensive standpoint. I just don't see enough unless their quarterback flips a switch and
bedazzles you kind of thing, you know?
Yeah, man. But Brian Kelly, man, I mean, he's lost. Hasn't he lost like the last 2 or 3 openers? So, oh my gosh. So I mean, maybe this is just
is that signs that he's plateaued. Has he plateaued?
Yeah, maybe it's
that's a real possibility. It's a real possibility. Look, it happens. Coaches, they plateau.
It does.
Teams figure you out. They know what you're going to do. They know when you're going to move left, when you're going to move right. They know what you're going to do. So it's a possibility. All right, guys, enough of this jibber jabber because we got some really exciting news. For those who didn't hear when we started the show, I got the number 1 pick in the fantasy draft.
Just love these teams.
So beautiful. But you know what, though? Here's the funny thing. I started the draft. I ended the draft. I was the last pick in the draft. It's really weird how that happened. Matt, would you please let everybody know how the draft went in your eyes? Like, what did you see that stands out, like team-wise, that stands out as a possibility of favorites other than yourself, favorites to maybe win the draft? Or, excuse me, win the fantasy football league?
That's the beautiful thing about fantasy football, man. When everybody drafts, everybody thinks they have the best team. At some point, man, I mean, maybe not this episode, but at some point I do want to go through all 12 teams one by one really quickly and do like a quick synopsis on the team, what they need, strengths, weaknesses, and things like that. We'll keep you guys updated throughout the weeks as far as, who's winning the fantasy league so far. But for right now, we'll go over me and Brandon's team right now. We'll just go over our team now, man. And then on my team,
a big neon sign that says Brandon is the best. Sorry,
I know, man. Please. On my team, I decided to go with the running back heavy approach, so to speak. I had the 11th pick in the draft, so I had the back-to-backs. And I ended up getting Saquon Barkley and Derrick Henry. 2 run first running backs and run first offenses, not too pass heavy either offense. So I decided to go that route. And we'll see what happens. For Mr. First pick in the draft over here. Let me pull up his team.
I can tell you I chose first was Bijan Robinson and Atlanta Falcons.
Yeah, go ahead. Who were your first 2 picks?
It was all right. I'm gonna pull them up because I gotta rub it into Matt's face just a little bit. Okay. My first pick, ladies and gentlemen, was the great running back. No, not CMC. No, was Bijan Robinson. Matt and I actually had this conversation about Bijan Robinson and CMC Christian McCaffrey. Matt, what did you say is real possibility for CMC?
Well, CMC, he has a heavy workload. His workload is probably more than he is. He is the offense of San Francisco. Everything runs through him. He's the first running back, whatever. He's the first check down. I mean, he's the first passing option. He is the offense there. But also with that comes wear and tear. He's a little up there. Up there in the tooth. Injuries. He gets nicked a lot. So I wouldn't fault anybody for taking Bijan Robinson over CMC. My only drawback is what you're getting from CMC. You're going to get about 1,200, 1,300 rushing yards. And you're going to get maybe 700, 800 receiving yards. And you're going to get scores. He's going to score. The only thing you don't know is how many games he's going to play. And you can say, yeah, that's like anybody. It's football. But again, McCaffrey, I mean, he's known to miss a game or two, man. Even dating back to his Carolina days, even dating back to his Stanford days. He get a little bit. So with Bijan Robinson, the only thing wrong with Bijan Robinson is you don't know. If there's an unknown there. So you don't know if he's going to get that workload. Tyler Algier is still there. Kirk Cousins, Kirk Cousins does like to spin the ball. He does like to throw the ball. They have options there. They have Drake London. They have Kyle Pitts there. They're going to throw the ball as well. They're going to get people. And I think the Falcons are probably going to end up signing another receiver. I hope they do. But man, with fantasy, man, you never know, man. You never know. But I think, there's a lot of good teams here. In next episode, I will, like I said, go through each team one by one. And we're gonna, see what
we're doing in-depth look at the teams, right?
Yes. We're gonna do an in-depth look, man, on this Thursday. It's upcoming Thursday, Friday. I'm out of my days mixed up. So, we'll do that, and we'll go through these fantasy rosters. We'll see, I'll give you guys my prediction as far as what each team is going to go. And we'll go from there. It'll be a beautiful thing. Nice little talk. So if you have a team and you draft it, make sure you tune in this Friday because I am going to talk about every team.
Yep, it's going to be a good episode. Hey, also, quick note, wanted to remind you guys, now while we are doing the fantasy football draft talk, we do have the Alabama Beavers offensive coordinator Shane Anderson is coming to join the show to talk to us about the IFA and the team and that kind of stuff, and it's going to be riveting conversations. Wanted to quickly remind you guys also that we have our good friend Abe Gordon coming on the Abe TL show is coming on Friday the 13th of September. Yes, Friday the 13th. He's coming on. He's going to grace us with his presence for our third time around.
Yes, I missed the first
We're excited to have him on. Hey, we also this close, guys. This close. I got to tell you, I'm going to share this with you. If you don't know these names, I want you to Google them. Alex Green played for the Green Bay Packers, University of Hawaii running back legend. Played for the Hamilton Tiger Cats of the CFL. He actually, I think, just had his number retired there. But then also, there's this player. I want you guys to know this name. Ronnie Stanley of the Baltimore Ravens. I'm this close, guys. It's hard to get a hold of these people, but there's a chance he's coming on our show very soon. Hey, guys, it's been a great episode. Matt, we have a lot of fun stuff to talk about, obviously, but I want everybody to just get a quick glimpse in the eyes of the Thomas household.
I know what you're about to say. I know what you're about to say.
So, guys, it has been so much fun. I'm happy. This guy right here, I'm happy to have him with me. Ride or die, best team right here. We're going places, but we can do more with your help. And what is that? What you can do? That little button that's on the YouTube channel right now. Click it. That's all you gotta do. Click subscribe. We will get more. Matt and I, we're only I think 12 away from our year-end goal, and it's only September the 3rd. So we've extended our goal to 200. Let's hit the 200 mark by 12/31/24 at 11:59 p.m. That's our goal. If you, and I'm doing this, Matt. If you the 200th subscriber, I'm going to give you 2 tickets to an FBS football game. It's not going to be the national championship game. So if you ask that question, I'm deleting you right now. It is a game of my choice, but it will be a fun game. I promise you it'll be a fun game. You get 2 tickets. If you get us to that 200, or if you're the 200th subscriber, you're going to be in line for good things. Blaze, good buddy of ours, Matt here, just asked, how can he help get us to grow? You know what, Blaze, we're telling you now, go share with everybody. You found the greatest sports show that there is in the Sportz Nutz. Tell them to subscribe. The more subscribes you get, the more content, the better guests. You name it, we're coming. We're gonna get there. I promise you. Because guys, you get to look at these two. This pretty face here and that pretty face there.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I went over one on that one. Whatever, guys, it's okay. But you get to look at us. We have great comment, great content, great everything. We can do it with you, Matt. Would you please tell everybody where they can find you?
Absolutely, man. You guys can find me on Twitter. We still call it that, at Maddie D. Thomas. Maddie D. Thomas. And I'll say that, hey, guys, I've quintupled my post count. I'm at 4 now. So, hey, we're going to get hey, we're going to get there. We're going to get there. I'm going to spend one whole weekend, and I'm just going to be to everybody. We're just getting the show right. And got a lot of things in the background going on that Kinks were working on. As soon as we get those taken care of, I'm gonna be on the Twitter game. I'm gonna be on there. I'm gonna need you to show me a lot of things, Brandon. I'm still new to it, man. You know how these young whippersnappers are with this Twitter thing.
Young whippersnappers, shut up. I'm older than you. Come on now.
Oh man, I'm 40.
Come on now, guys. Hey, we got a lot going on coming up for you guys. I promise you're gonna want to stay tuned for our next giveaway. We've already had the $50 giveaway that Blaze. It is coming in the mail. This Mr. Matt is going to be sending you the gift card. I have to send you the shirt because I have it. Guys, we just ordered 15 Sportz Nutz t-shirts. Okay. I promise you're going to want, our good friend Matt Verbnick, he is the winner of the prize pack. He was number 5. He is actually right down the road from me. He gets the first dibs because he's the winner of the prize pack. Blaze is going to get his shirt too, but we have shirts for sale. Matt's getting ready to order some hats. We're going to have some hats for sale. I got some keychains that I've ordered also that are coming in. We got car fresheners coming in. I have one in my car, and I actually really good. I like it a lot. We have a lot more merchandise coming. Matt and I are working on trying to create a store for everybody to buy their Sportz Nutz gear. Stay tuned for it. I promise you it's going to be fun. So,
also, make sure you check us out on Apple Podcasts. Make sure you check us out on Apple Podcasts.
I was just about to say that. And as Trey Davis just said, I'm going to need an extra large, Trey. We got you. Matt will send you the invoice. All right. So, guys, check us out on Apple Podcast. We have uploaded every episode on there. We are also about to upload every episode complete to Spotify. Matt's going to be doing that. We now have the ability to upload to iHeartRadio, iHeartMedia. We will do that. So we have a lot more coming. I promise you, you're going to be there. And, I've even debated about doing, Odyssey, but that's still for me to decide. I haven't really fully committed to them yet. But
we'll see.
Here's what you need to do. Go on Facebook, like our page, The Sportz Nutz. Go on Twitter, like our Twitter page at The Sportz Nutz. Subscribe to our YouTube channel at The Sportz Nutz 176. Go and download, subscribe everything for the Apple Podcast, for Spotify, for everything. We will be there for you, we promise. With that being said, for our good friend Brian Gephardt, which was great to have him on, for this man right here, I'm 0 for 2. Matt.
Dang.
And I got you. Oh, yeah. Hey, I'm Brandon saying, guys, we love you. Thank you so much for taking an hour and 15 minutes out of your day to let us bend your ear, talk sports, because that's what we like to do. We like to talk sports. We're sports people. We love it. We love you guys. And as we always say, peace up, A-Town down. And why do I say that again? I'm an AT alien at heart. I'm a diehard Atlanta fan. And this guy right here also is a diehard Atlanta Falcons fan. So thank you so much for chiming in. We really do appreciate you guys. And Matt, what do you tell people not to get done?
Don't get flagged.
Yes, don't get flagged.
There you go,
don't get flagged. All right, guys, show's over. Get some sleep. Go eat. If you haven't eaten dinner, which I haven't, go eat dinner. Do whatever. But you ain't got to go home, but you got to get the heck up out of here. Bye.
Yes, sir.
Well, he just did. He just scored 8 points. That's big. He had a career.